another exciting edition of the Camnet TV Breakfast Show on a Thursday, the 21st of March 2024. Excitingly so is the fact that we've got people that were born on a particular day, and this particular day is somewhat very special. For those that were born on this particular day, we say happy birthday to you, and wherever you might be getting us live from, we really appreciate you joining us this morning. I'm your host, Nelson Zulu, and I was just speaking about issues relating to my birthday. So what is so exciting is the fact that to many you know her as Miriam Kaima, but I refer to her as Mother Superior, yes, for a reason best known to myself. So, but if you ask me those questions, maybe I might provide some answers also and get to understand why I call her Mother Superior, because in the next 3 days I might be that person also that's going to be a birthday boy. So you know what it means having your mother by your side, and then it is at a time when also it is rumored that she's president somewhere. Good morning.
Nelson, how are you?
Very well, how are you?
I don't know, you were trained by all means to do the sweet talking and stuff like that. I know you want a present for your birthday.
Anyway, I was just talking to the audience there. I was talking to our viewers out there that they have to know that I'm just staying next to my mother here. It's just that, look, we're working on one or two things, but in case of, because anyway, I'll say, oh my God, I'm a desert.
Yeah, but anyway, today again, it is indeed a special day to several people out there. We have people who might be celebrating their birthdays this morning. But anyway, not forgetting that today is International Day of Forest, where, you know, you raise awareness of the importance of types of different forests that we might have in our country, particularly when we talk about Zambia, but this is an international event. But anyway, before we go into details talking about some of the issues that we have for you this morning, especially what is happening in the political sector, as well as from the court yesterday, we did see an interesting person yesterday appearing before court, and later a matter being committed to the High Court for trial proceedings. But those are some of the issues that we'll be looking at this morning. But right about now, let's get direct into our health corner.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakobena Mfaya. So this week we are talking about depression, and yesterday we talked about some of the signs and symptoms of depression. We say that people who are depressed, they might have feelings of sadness or depressed mood for about 2 weeks or more, and they might also have other symptoms such as loss of interest in activities that they used to enjoy before, such as hobbies, that they used to like to do, or just any activities at home that they used to do that they are not doing anymore. Then they might also have other symptoms of sleeping too much or not sleeping enough, or overeating or not eating enough. Then they might also have fatigue or feelings of tiredness. They might have low concentration at school or at work, and also have slow thinking when it comes to their daily activities. So today we'll talk about the treatment or the diagnosis and treatment of depression. How is it diagnosed in the hospital, and how is it treated? So when it comes to diagnosis, usually it's there are several questionnaires that are used to be able to assess if you are going through depression or not. So these questionnaires will be able to tell whether you have depression or you have some other kind of mood disorder, because there are other mood disorders like bipolar that somebody might have. So it's not just depression that is the only mood disorder. No, they might have other mood disorders like bipolar, or they might have anxiety disorders or some phobias that they might have. So you'll be able to, the doctor will be able to ask you certain questions, and there are some guides that are used to ask these questions so that they can be able to tell whether it's just a phobia or whether it's just another mood disorder that you might be experiencing. Then they might also do some tests to rule out other medical conditions. So in case you have another illness that might be causing you to be depressed, so they might decide to do certain blood tests and other tests that can be able to rule out other medical illnesses that you might be experiencing. The other thing is that when it comes to the treatment, you need to be started on some medications that we call antidepressants. So these medications, they help to produce certain neurotransmitters or certain chemicals in the brain or in the body that can help to regulate your depressed mood or the depression that you're going through. So these are called antidepressants, and they will help you in your thinking, in the way that your body responds to certain things. So there are several classes of these neurotransmitters, and there are different types, and so your doctor will be able to decide on which one is best for you, and depending on whether you have other medical conditions as well, they might also decide to give you certain types of neurotransmitters and other medications. So discuss with your doctor what medication they are putting you on, how it's going to help you, so that you really understand what medications you are getting from the hospital. But it's good to know that there are several medications that can be used to treat depression if you have depression. So make sure that you go to the hospital and get help so that they can be able to assess whether you need medication or they can do other types of treatment options. So the other options that are there are psychotherapy. So under psychotherapy, we have cognitive therapy, behavior therapy. So these are some therapy sessions that you might be going through with a counselor or a doctor that might help to change the way that you think, the way that you look at the world, because it might just be maybe as a result of a trauma that you might have. So they might be able to walk through the process with you of trying to forget about the trauma or go through the trauma and just help you to get over it. So if you're having some other issues that might be causing you to have depression, like having other illnesses like stroke, they might be able to guide you on how you handle such situations so that you can come out of the depression that you are having. So apart from the cognitive therapy, they might have behavior therapy. So they might help you to form certain behaviors or certain habits that can help to overcome the depression that you're going through. So they might encourage you to do certain things maybe that you used to like to do before, or adopt new hobbies or new habits that can assist you to come out of depression and just assist you to live a better life overall. So those are some of the therapies that are available for people who might be going through depression. So cognitive therapy, behavior therapy, all these are ways that they can be used to help people who have depression. So if you have depression, do not hesitate to see a doctor or a counselor that is trained to handle such situations, or trained to handle patients who have psychiatric disorders or mental disorders or mood disorders, so that you get the best help, because it's not everybody that can be able to handle people who have mood disorders or mental health disorders. So you need to be able to know that they are certified for this job and they are qualified for this job. So go to people who are trained, who are professional, and who know exactly what they're doing and how to help you, so that you get the best help possible. So if you know somebody who has depression, you know somebody who is having suicidal thoughts or suicidal ideations, you know somebody that maybe has tried to harm themselves in the past, it's important that you help them to get to sessions or to get to therapy, to see a doctor, and to even start medication if there is need for them to start medication. We need to be able to protect each other, look out for each other, and reduce the mental health conditions that are going around and people committing suicide. So we need to look out for others as well, our friends, our family members, so that we can all live healthy lives at the end, because our mental health is tied so much to our overall health. So without good mental health, we are not healthy at all. So we need to be able to protect our mental health and live a healthy life as much as possible. So tomorrow we'll talk about some of the complications of depression and how you can prevent yourself from getting depression, or if you already have depression, how you can prevent from having relapses of depression. So make sure you watch tomorrow again and invite your friends and family. If you missed any episodes, you can always watch my YouTube channel at Dr. Nakubianamfire, where you find all these and more other videos as well. So I'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you stay healthy, stay blessed, and take care of your family as well.
I hope you have learned one or two things there from the doctor, talking about depression and how you can get treated from that. But anyway, let's go now direct into our money market. We have the United States dollar. They are buying at 25 kwacha 52 ngwe, selling at 26 kwacha 20 ngwe. We have the euro. They are buying at 27 kwacha 0.90 ngwe and selling at 28 kwacha 0.545 ngwe. We have the South African rand. They are buying at 1 kwacha 0.36 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 0.39 ngwe. We have the Great British Pound. They are buying at 32 kwacha 0.66 ngwe and selling at 33 kwacha 0.30 ngwe. That is our money market for today, the 21st of March 2024, as of 07:30. My Nelson.
Anyway,
I almost called you my son Nelson. After chaffing me with that introduction, so that I can just get you a better present.
Look, even in some forums that we've attended, and I'm sure our viewers out there are able to attest that we've been told not to look at our problems. But regardless, in as much as we don't want to look at our problems, we need to position ourselves in key. The keyword here is key, just like the word key itself. Okay, the keyword, we need to position ourselves in key strategic positions so that we identify that and know that we are ready to receive. Okay, ready to receive. And
no, man, indeed, you are ready. In fact, the president can start coming.
Please let them start coming, especially Kingsley Majila from Mazao. I think he can start.
Down. Yeah,
yes.
he can send
the sweet,
the sweet, the sugar cane.
Yes, his Zoda still operating anyway. Okay, I think he can use any other mobile way of transacting and.
Indeed, anyway, Nelson, Kingsley Nelson will be waiting for his present there. He really is hoping to get those sugarcane from you, all the way from the sweetest town of Mazaboka. But anyway, let's get now direct into one of our interesting segment where we get to look at some of the stories that made headlines yesterday. Just a reminder to our viewers that we have now officially opened our phone lines. And those who are watching us live on Facebook, please do send us your contribution so that we get interacted on our program this morning. But let's get to look at this story where the Zambia police has clarified that its initiative to clean up officers with political affiliations aim at promoting professionalism rather than conducting a witch hunt. Police spokesperson Ray Hamonga says the cleanup is necessary for enhancing the integrity of the police service. The proper legal procedures are being adhered to. Let's get to look at that story.
The Inspector General of Police Raphael Musamba's remarks have come under fire from various stakeholders. This follows a statement by the police chief that the Zambia police will start firing junkie police officers for allegedly inclining to political parties amounting to unprofessionalism. Commenting on this move, opposition Citizen First President Harry Kalaba is concerned and fears that the move paints a political picture in the civil service.
While we appreciate that some people were reinstated, we raised our concerns on the double standards with which the reinstatement was done, with others being rehired on contract rather than reinstating them unconditionally. With this background, we feel the step being taken by the Zambia police under Mr. Musamba flies in the face of his commander-in-chief, who strongly condemned the politicizing of the civil service, especially the men and women in uniform.
But Zambia police spokesperson Ray Hamunga has watered down sentiments of the process being a witch hunt because in the previous administration, calls to ensure the police service operated professionally were made.
I've been grappling with this issue of professionalism as far back as even the previous regime. If you remember very well, towards the end of the previous regime, the then head of state, who happened to be the 6th president, Mr. Edward Chagolungu, did give an ultimatum to the then Inspector General of Police, 3 months in which to turn around the police and make it become professional. Now, with the advent of the new Dawn administration, we heard very clearly the head of state stating that we are going to rule this country based on the rule of law.
The police mouthpiece adds that the cleanup is not based on tribe, face or political inclination, but a laid-down criteria identified by law is already established and the cleanup will be conducted transparently.
All this is aimed at having a professional cadre of police officers. It's not that it's a witch hunt as I want to put it. No, there is already a laid down lawful procedure of how someone can be dismissed. For instance, if somebody absconds himself from duty for more than 10 days, the disciplinary procedure tells that such a person is liable for dismissal. So it's nothing about witch hunt. If somebody commits a crime, like it is for us in the Zambia police, definitely you are arrested, taken to court, convicted, and then you are dismissed.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka. A story that we get to look at this morning, fully knowing that Police Inspector General Raphael Musamba did issue a statement that there's going to be a cleanup in as far as the Zambia Police Service is concerned, and we've seen eyebrows also being raised by one of them, the opposition leader in Harry Kalaba from the Citizens First, who's indicating that he feels it is somewhat a witch hunt, but police spokesperson is indicating to say this is not a witch hunt, we're just trying to promote professionalism. And look, even in the previous administration, before they were ushered out of power, there was a call when the then Inspector General of Police was in charge. He sought to ensure that professionalism was restored, and this is what we're trying to do. But the bone of contention really is the aspect of what criteria is the police going to use to ensure that they get to identify that this particular police officer is inclined to a certain political party. This police officer is somewhat termed as a junkie.
As a junkie, and rather as a junkie as it is put anyway, they are referring to their political affiliation to certain political parties. But anyway, my other concern, Nelson, is what criteria is used before these people are employed into the service, because it's quite worrisome. You have people already in the service, and then you get to realize later that these people are not supposed to be in the service. They're supposed to be, removed.
They're junkies.
They're junkies, removed out. So that is, again, a very worrying situation where, we need to sit down as I would rather that the police sit down and analyze things, that before someone is taken into the service, thorough investigation is done before later on they can be tagged with a label of being called a junkie or something like that. That is very worrisome. And even when we are saying we are calling for application for people to come in and bring the application to go into the service, we need to do a thorough investigations. There is no way you get someone into employment and then later on 2 years from now or 3 years from now you address them as a junkie. that does not stand with me. It doesn't.
You can imagine now the unrest that might be there if you're one of the officers where that such a statement has been made by your top man, and you're being indicated that we shall fire junkie police officers. Junkie,
in what sense?
Replaced with a word unprofessional.
Unprofessional, yes.
Yes, unprofessional officers. But now you get to ask questions to say, am I going to be spared? Even when you are professional, because you're not too sure of how and when the process might start.
Yeah,
and you don't know who is observing that you're professional or unprofessional.
Unprofessional. So I understand that sometimes we might have, different opinions coming from our workmates, our work colleague who might file in a report about you which might be negative and you're labeled unprofessional. Meanwhile, you had a small misunderstanding with them and they blew out the same misunderstanding out of proportion. So this is again a very a serious concern to those who are in the service. But anyway, nevertheless, we have seen for some time, Nelson, on social media videos circulating where named officers are seen drunk in the uniform, and it's worries. It is maybe if they put that in such line that okay, those we are referring to such officers, maybe that can apply. But if you are doing your job diligently and ensuring that all the time you maintain this professionalism and integrity, and then later on you hear this statement from your top boss saying, we are going to remove, chunk out all these junkie officers or unprofessional officers, you become worried and you don't know where you stand. But I believe that as the police take up this initiative, or rather this exercise, thorough investigations should be done so that everyone is treated fairly. We don't want to see a situation where people now later on go to the courts and start suing the state, and then the state later on start losing a huge sums of money if they lose the case. This is what we don't want to see. Yeah,
very true. And let's get to also move away and get to also look at a story from the courts as of yesterday, where a 35-year-old man of Lusaka's Garden House area has been found guilty of defiling a mentally ill girl. Wow. Israel Zulu, a tire mender, was found guilty Wednesday morning by Lusaka magistrate Mutinta Mwenya and later committed to the High Court for his sentencing. Facts before court are that the convict on October 19, 2023 had carnal knowledge of a mentally unstable female juvenile at his tire mending shop before he was caught red-handed by a passerby who reported the matter to police. Well, such quite unfortunate.
But my concern is, okay, why would someone in their normal capacity, and we're talking about someone who is 35, okay, why would someone in their normal capacity at that age take advantage of a mentally ill person? And we're talking about a juvenile. First of all, this person cannot give consent, okay? You take advantage because of her condition. She can't do anything. She can't scream for help. And then, what goes on?
I don't know. And to my knowledge, I think...
is it the issue of, mental issues?
Not really mental issues, but for me, I would maybe liken such situations to the love for money. Look, when we look at this story that was filed by our staff at Cherish Sibote, you get to understand that this tire mender knew that this girl is mentally retarded or ill. And then he proceeded to do whatever he did, and then not until he was caught red-handed by a passerby. So to me, that does not make sense. How do you pounce yourself on someone who is mentally challenged, and for that matter, a juvenile? you even know deep down your heart that she is a juvenile. I think it's just the mushrooming of these so-called traditional healers, man, that they've been told go and do this, and then later in the day your business will boom. It will be like on fire.
Yes, and we have read, when you have carnal knowledge with a minor or a mentally ill person, maybe you might get cured from, certain kind of diseases, but those are just myths. And my concern, or rather my thought, is aligned to maybe this person also has a mental condition. Because someone in their right capacity, trust me, Nelson, when we talk about mental issues, we're not talking about someone who is basically ill, who is mad and stuff like that, how you can, address them. But we have seen that people who go through mental issues also go through depression and stuff like that.
But you can't resort to such level of unlawless and
exactly.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. For crying out loud, this does not make sense. It sends a very bad picture out there.
It is, and this is high time that the church should come in. We need the church to be vocal. Each and every time that they are preaching this message to their congregants, the word of God, let them speak about issues of morality. Okay,
yeah.
We don't want to pastors all the time to be preaching about prosperity. Yes, we need the money and stuff like that, but teach about morality, the values. Teach about how people should behave in society. This is the more reason why we have a society that has moved away from the spirit of Ubuntu, because now everyone does not care about how my next neighbor will feel, because they're just doing their own stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This also reminds me of a case that is already before court also, relating to defilement again. And this time around, it is an alleged police officer that is involved. You see? So, I think for me that does not make a lot of sense. But anyway, let's get to look at that story, and then we'll be back on the other side, as we also get to look forward to some of the contribution as well as your perspective that you're bringing to us in terms of what you think of the Inspector General of Police's remarks that junkie police officers are going to be fired in the police service. Those remarks, also you've seen a clarification from the police through the spokesperson, Mr. Ray Hamonga, just indicating to say it was a connotation to mean unprofessional police officers. Yes. But let's get to look at that story. We'll be back on the other side. Keep it on Camnet.
A 35-year-old man of Lusaka's Garden House sexual appetite has landed him in trouble as he allegedly defiled a 16-year-old girl who is mentally challenged, promoting the Lusaka magistrate to commit him to the High Court for sentencing. Away from his usual business of tire mending, Israel Zulu's intention to shift the mending operations on the 16-year-old did not sit well with Lusaka magistrate Mutinta Mwenya. Allegations are that on October 19, 2023, the eyewitness Petronella Mutoa, 42, of Lusaka West, caught the convict red-handed near Makeni Police in a shop after two female pupils made her interested in what they were watching. The victim was heard screaming, leading her to cross over to the shop and found the accused on top of the victim. She told the court that when she asked what was happening, the convict came out on top of the girl with his zip open and later took the victim to the police to report the matter. But earlier, before reporting the case, the convict requested that the eyewitness should not report the matter in exchange for a 50 kwacha for fear of being arrested. However, when the matter came up Wednesday before Lusaka Magistrate Court, Magistrate Mutinta Mwenya found Israel Zulu guilty and committed him to the High Court for sentencing. Magistrate Mwenya indicated that the convict knew that the victim was mentally challenged, and the state proved the case of the girl being diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, prompting the court to dismiss the evidence of the convict and committing the convict to the High Court for sentencing. The offense Mr. Zulu is facing, according to Section 139 of the Penal Code Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia, attracts a maximum of 14 years imprisonment. Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
I'm looking forward to really how this case is going to unfold before the courts of law, and it's really exciting that this case has been committed to the High Court, and we also get to look at how those would-be offenders will be deterred in terms of committing similar offences, because it does not make any sense for one to pounce on a mentally ill juvenile, for that matter. Really,
Yeah.
35.
Yeah, and I know a lot of viewers would be asking, why wasn't a sentence passed just there and then? Why was the matter sentenced to the High Court? So basically, matters in relation to defilement attract a maximum sentence of 15 years and above, and the Lusaka Magistrate Court does not have that jurisdiction of sentencing someone to those period or years, rather hence the matter being committed to the High Court. So basically, Israel Zulu there will be appearing before a High Court judge, basically for his sentencing, where the court will determine how many years he will spend behind bars, because already the Lusaka Magistrate Court has already, found him guilty of the offense of defilement. Yeah.
Makes a sad reading, but we're looking at the topic.
And again, Nelson, I know that a lot of NGOs, government have come on board, put up a lot of measures to ensure that we lessen cases of defilement. Despite even putting a harsh penalty of maximum 15 years and above imprisonment, we see people committing these offenses.
So unfortunate. So unfortunate. I don't know what really has to be done. Just like I did indicate, I think also the mushrooming of these
traditional healers
also is something that has to be looked at, in the sense that, look, we have a lot of these cases where you go to a traditional healer, you are peddled with lies, and go and do these things will get better for you. Anyway, let's get to work hard, just like the president says. Let's not be lazy as a country, work hard, and it will pay off once you work hard. But it really makes a sad reading, because 35-year-old, that's really, and the girl is under 16 years. No. That does not make sense. But anyway, in case you're joining us this morning, this is the Camnet TV Breakfast Show on a Thursday, where we come to you in the world of politics, policy, as well as governance, and ensure that we also hear from you in terms of what you think on the particular topic at hand, just like we have today, which is what is your take or your opinion on the remarks made by the Inspector General of Police, Grafiel Musamba, that junkie police officers are going to be fired. This is also comes amidst calls to have police reforms within the service and ensuring that professionalism is promoted. And even as we get to hear from you in terms of what you think, in terms of those messages via Facebook, as well as those calls via the numbers on your screens, let's also get to look at a story in relation to the country's economy. And just talking about the economy, in case you didn't know, President Hakainde Hichilema is expected to be in Copperbelt today, where is officially expected to hand over Mopani copper mine to the investor, and operations are likely to commence, so that we see things also getting down there. We've seen for some time, such as groups that Vendetta Return Group. We've also seen the ADD come on the hand. We've also seen Mine Expert call for the revamping of these mines. But the great question that we can be asking is, looking at it, that the kwacha has been fluctuating against major convertibles, and in this line, the United States dollar. Does this really entail, give hope that once operations resume at Mopani copper mine, things get to be better for the Zambian economy, things get to be better, or things tend to improve, where you and I, wherever you're watching us from, will also get to appreciate in terms of maybe the cost of living going down, as well as prices of essential commodities also stabilizing? Those are just some of the questions that you and I might have.
Exactly, and not forgetting the creation of employment,
especially among the youth.
Among the youth, exactly.
Yeah, and I think this comes amidst that national disaster we had at Senseni mine in the copper belt, where we saw that miners were trapped, and most of those concerns that were raised were that these artisanal miners, in the name of Jerabos, yes, were not taught sustainable ways of practicing
the safety
skills and everything. So does now, with the revamping of operations at Mopani Copper Mine, does it mean that things are going to be better? Does it mean that all these artisanal miners, the Jarabos, are also going to be empowered in one way or the other, especially that
exactly.
the youth mind?
And you should realize that the president did anyway raise the concern, or rather emphasize that, you know, we should move away from calling them Jarabos or illegal miners, but you call them small-scale miners. It's just a way of, you know, ensuring that, you know, we bring empowerment among these youths. But anyway, this, like you said, it's something that, you know, a lot of people are looking forward to, and I know that a lot of opportunities among them, like we mentioned, you know, creation of jobs among the youths is something that, you know, a lot of people are hoping for, and how this basically will contribute to our economy, Zambia, because already we are struggling as a country, and looking at the national disaster that we are currently in, this is one of the, you know, that something that we were really hoping to look forward for, and indeed it has come. We hope for, you know, for major opportunities to come through.
Yeah, just talking about the economy, we had the economist yesterday as in our last bulletin, where economist Trevor Hambai predicts that Zambia's economic prospects in 2024 will bleak due to challenges that will lead to declines in key sectors such as agriculture and energy, impacting the gross domestic product of the country, GDP. Mr. Hambai highlights that factors like currency fluctuations and power cuts will raise business costs and hinder small and medium enterprises, squeezing the local economy. Let's get to look at that story, and we'll be back, and hopefully you are loading that airtime, ensuring that you give us that perspective, because we'd like to hear from you. What do you think of that statement by the police IG, Mr. Grafel Musamba, that junkie police officers are going to be fired? And especially if you come from a family where most of them are police officers.
Yeah.
Let's get to look at that story. We'll be back shortly.
The economy drastically going down owing to the persistent challenges induced by the prolonged drought, Zambia's economic growth projection has come into question as the country's vibrant economic sectors have been severely affected. The drought, which has culminated into a national disaster, has brought with it load shedding amidst the depreciating kwacha. These factors have further brought macroeconomic instability, with inflation moving away from the 2024 target band of 6 to 8%. In the 2024 national budget, Zambia's gross domestic product was projected to grow by 4.8%, reflecting an estimated growth of about $1.4 billion compared to the estimated 2023 GDP of $119 billion. Lusaka-based economist Trevor Hambai has, however, charged that the country's economic outlook for the year 2024 will be depressed in view of the economic challenges.
Firstly, if you look at the economic outlook for the country going into 2024, is that obviously it's going to be depressed. The first factor that is speaking to this is the drought that the country has experienced. Outside the drought is that they've got an additional impact, which has come with a shortfall in power generation. So we have got the load shedding that has come in. If you're looking at the historical evidence from 2015, when we had these 8-hour load shedding periods, the economy contracted by 20%. So essentially you expect that depending on how long this process goes on for load shedding, there will be a major contraction in the economy and the performance of the private sector.
Mr. Hambai has further disclosed that the delay in the debt restructuring deal will equally contribute to the desperate economic outlook.
completed the restructuring of our debt, and the issue that has come into play around the restructuring is that you see the country still suffering a degree of lack of liquidity on the market. So there is no resources to be able to invest into the economy for the economy to start to recover. And when you look at all the other aspects, is that you find that government is also not working towards having to liquidate what we are calling arrears, which is money that is owed to the private sector and SMEs, which is more than $2.5 billion. This has also limited the availability of funds to be able to drive economic recovery. With the effects that you do see is that there's a very high risk that there's potentially a lot of companies are going to have to downgrade in terms of their employees to reduce, to mitigate the impact of load shedding and reduce their cost. This will definitely reduce the performance of the economy.
Chanda Mwango for Camnet News in Lusaka.
In a dramatic turn of events, two female opposition political party leaders Wednesday visited Lusaka Chainama Mental Health Hospital in search of socialite celebrity Florence Solochi, who recently took to social media by storm with allegations of abuse by her named uncle. The two opposition leaders is Saboi Imboila and Chishala Kateka of National Democratic Congress and New Heritage Party respectively, saying they have taken interest in allegations of abuse to Ms. Solochi. Speaking to the media after the visit, which however revealed that Ms. Solochi is on the copper belt, Ms. Kateka told this journalist that the two will ensure that the alleged victim is helped.
With the superintendent, the senior medical superintendent, and we have learned that actually she is not here. She is on the copper belt. The reason why we were coming to find out is because here's a lady who has had childhood trauma. She has complained, she has filed in she has complained that she was defiled and abused and sodomized when she was young, or I don't know how far back, but these things do affect people. You know, as a young person, when you are defiled, like you are sexually abused, these things start.
Meanwhile, National Democratic Congress Party President Saboi Imboila says mental health is real and people should not be hostile to patients of mental health.
A small investigation, like I've said, and we don't want to say much because we want to get people fired and everything. But she wasn't admitted for drug abuse. She was admitted for sexual abuse and a lot of childhood trauma. So meaning that what Soloch has been sharing on social media is actually true. We have confirmed it here. What she's been sharing is true. So she needs our support, you know. And Zambians, sadly, they are never so kind when it comes to mental health issues. Mental health is real and it's serious. The same way anybody can get malaria, can get this, can get that, they can get sick in terms of our mental health. So we have to be supportive as the Zambian society. We are very, very hostile towards people that have mental issues, and it's not kind. You know, it's not good as a society. Let's be kind to people that have gone.
Zambia Police Service, however, through spokesperson Reha Monga, says the service has not received any reports on the matter. Prudence Chibwe for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Those are some of the stories in relation to the country's economy as well as issues relating to mental health. And we do know that we've got the Mental Health Act of 2019 in place. And I think one thing that also has to be looked at is that I think mental health should start from a home. If you come from a home where things don't really need to be moving up, I think it's very important that also guardians or parents also need to take interest in terms of how the mental situation of their children, the people they're keeping is, because at times it doesn't make any sense.
Most of the times we intend to ignore certain things and just, yeah, anyway.
Is it the type of mulibwanji, mwakabwanji, machomabwanji, masendabwanji state of affair, where you don't even like sit, you make an insaka at a particular time?
Nowadays, I'll be very honest with you. I wouldn't say my family, but I'll tell you that a lot of things that I've observed during my course of, journalism, especially when you get to go in the community and do a lot of stories, you tend to discover that parents nowadays, even families nowadays, do not have time to sit down around the table and discuss about various issues that might affect maybe a member of the family. Most of the times we spend our 24/7 of hours on the phone, on social media, on Facebook, and I'll tell you one thing. On Facebook we meet different people. And on Facebook, we have people who are depressed. We have people who, would want to tell you all those negative stuff just for them to feel good. Okay? They feel pleasure when they bully you. So when we have already gone away from that time where we sit as a family, we introspect on things, we discuss, we help each other on solving various issues, even in terms of, just financially helping each other. Nowadays families, it's not like the way it was before. A lot of people have gone on social media and talk about how families are not united anymore. Even when you talk about, just get in touch with your cousins from either your mother or your father's side, it's very different. So again, I will come back to this, Nelson. We also need the church to be involved, because many a times that the church, have moved away from teaching about the values and morals that people should have in society. But we have seen pastors out there teaching about prosperity all the time.
It is about declaring, I declare and decree that you shall riches,
yeah.
you shall and your life will change for the better. You have this.
My sister, I can see the ring.
Yes, I can see the ring. I can see the khakis.
That khakis, that land.
That land.
There's no problem with that, okay? But let us, also remember that we need to teach people about the values and morals so that we can have a society that will be proud of. A society that the future generation will won't have, challenges or difficulties to live in. But if we have a society that is, I don't care type.
Anyway, Madam Kaimba, even as we draw near to the closing or the dying minute of this broadcast, it's like in those times when Jesus was saying, the end time is near. Let's get to look at that interesting story that you have in your hands, where I think a lot that would have missed it would call it the big elephant in the room.
Yeah, and it's coming all the way from the courts. Yesterday we did see the widow of late Lieutenant General Ron Shikapwasha, who was committed to the Lusaka High Court for the trial proceedings on murder charges allegation. Now, Madam Jane Lusango, who was Wednesday morning committed to the High Court following the issuance of the certificate of committal by the Director of Public Prosecution, which is the DPP. She appeared before the Lusaka Magistrate Court yesterday, and she is accused of murdering her late husband. Let's get to look at this story. I know this story did, make headlines.
Yes, and at a time during the funeral, I think we did visit there. Should have been 2 times or 1 time. I think the first one should have been with the Vice President, and then the other one should have been with some opposition political leaders at the time. Also, the service chiefs were also like going to the funeral, and there was just like a lot of talk surrounding the death of the late Lieutenant General Ronnie Shikapwasha, because I think the major question that even we as a journalist asked at the time, I remember asking this question to then family spokesperson, Madam Maureen Mwanawasa, who did indicate to say, have you ever seen a widow? So I think that was the question. So where's the widow? We want to know.
A lot of people had those questions, and a lot of people wanted to know what exactly
happened,
transpired, on that particular night. And were allegations that came through from a statement that we saw from the police spokesperson is that she allegedly shot her husband. But anyway, the matter is now in court, and since she has been committed to the High Court, we will keep you updated, our viewers, on how the trial will proceed. and what type of, testimonies, witness testimonies, or submissions will come out from this particular story. But let's get to look at this story. We'll be right back.
The long-awaited appearance of late former Minister of Information Ronish Kapwasha's wife before the courts was today satisfied as she appeared before the subordinate court 61 days after being arrested for the alleged murder of her husband. Jane Lusengo, 73, wife to the late Ronish Kapwasha, is alleged to have shot her husband at their Ibex Hill residence on 14th January 2024 in Lusaka. The accused was arrested on 19th January 2024 and appeared on March 20th at the subordinate court, where the matter came up for explanation of the charge before Lusaka magistrate Kigan Litia, where the accused, when asked if she understood the charge, responded in the affirmative. As such, Magistrate Litia committed the case to the High Court because the court does not have jurisdiction to try the alleged murder case, and the accused is expected to take plea at the Lusaka High Court. The offense alleged to have been committed is contrary to Section 200 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia, and carries a maximum sentence of life imprisonment when one is found guilty. Late Lieutenant General Ronish Kapwasha died around 21:43 hours on January 15th from acute abdomen secondary gunshot wounds and was buried on 21 January 2024. Allegations are that the accused used a shotgun to commit the offense. Cherish Sivote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
HIVOS Southern Africa has launched the Urban Futures Project in Zambia, which is working to link urban food systems, youth well-being and climate action. The project is being implemented in 2 towns, Chongwe and Kitwe, of Lusaka and Copperbelt provinces, respectively. Speaking during the launch in Lusaka Wednesday morning, HIVOS Southern Africa Regional Director Nana Zulu said the project recognizes the importance of adapting its strategies to suit unique needs of communities.
Through the Urban Futures Project, we aspire to create urban food systems that are not only resilient to climate change, but also inclusive and equitable. We believe that by empowering young people to become active participants in shaping their food systems, we can foster a brighter and more sustainable future for all.
Mayors of the 2 towns hosting Urban Futures Project, including Chongwe District Commissioner, were on hand to witness and welcome its launch.
A mining town, and a lot of our citizens across the country from other sectors would want to look for greener pastures in form of maybe trying to get a job at a mining sector. So that population of the urbanization altogether can indeed bring challenges in the issue of food systems.
From one location to another, I was faced with a situation where we had to transfer one youth from Chongwe to Kitwe, and we had to ensure they didn't lose out. We made arrangements that are integrated, and so the project is going to run. Because that if during inception we are able to take care of such, then there is a lot of hope. This UF project is very appreciable, and as government from different levels, we really want to see this succeed and make a change. Even also, is that
Minister of Community Development and Social Welfare Dolini Mwamba was represented at the event by Ministry Director Planning Patrick Jorwe.
It is also encouraging to note that the youth are being used as agents of change to create more inclusive, climate resilient cities and urban food security, urban food systems. Government therefore welcomes the initiative of the 2 parties to leverage on each other for the development of urban food systems and mitigation of effects of climate change.
The 5-year global program is supported by Foundation Butner, resulting from the co-creation among HIVOS, LUA's Global Partnership on Urban Agriculture and Food Systems, as well as local partners such as the Consumer Unit Trust Society, CATS, including experts.
Talking. I was talking about food system.
For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
Bembas would definitely say Imitikula Impanga, the growing trees are the forest of tomorrow, and that is a story that we did see from arrivals that are also trying to build a future, and as far as ensuring that the plight of youth is really looked at and get to also build momentum as well as resilience among the youth to ensure that they're able to rise to the occasion and take up these challenges. But even as we get to wrap up the show this morning, let's get a comment from Africana Truth Miss. Thank you for your comment. Mwazuga Bwanji, Mwashubuke and Camnet TV. How are we? Use local language to explain certain things like the sexual assault of the 16-year-old mentally challenged girl, educating the nation on the horrific consequences of sexual assault, and the stiff penalties may require putting it in the mother tongue for the message to sink in. Your take, Mother Superior. I know time and again you really understand issues relating to courts, you really understand the issues relating to the law.
Yeah, I that's one thing that I'm also upset that most of the times, even NGOs, as they get to advocate about, the safety of a girl child, even a boy child, so that they are not sexually abused, most of the times we deliver this message in English, forgetting our local languages. And also, when we deliver these messages, we don't go to the communities where such things occur. We go to fancy hotels and have fancy meetings and talk about girl children, how they are affected, without us fully involving them. But anyway, in short, what we were saying, or rather, historia kukoti uyu mnyamata wa 35 years zina yake ni Israel Zulu wa ku Garden House compound, ama ni nchito yake ni yoshita Mend Mataela. Wanampeza guilty yesterday, wanampeza na mlandu wa magistrate ku magistrate court, not ku high court, ku magistrate court. Wanampeza na mlandu yogona na mwana wa mungono mwana wa 16 alikuwa sokoneza kako mwana, so pamana gona nao jamwana nakona naye mshop mwake anje nakambati nikagona naye oyo mfana nza kupasa 50 kwacha. So uyu mwana kaili since ni mungono, and then alikuwa ofuntako saganiza mushemusha, alikuwa ofuntako ali mentally challenged. So ana taking advantage uyu munyamata wa 35 years. So manje wa court wanampeza na mlandu, but lucky enough pamenzo mushita abuse uyu mwana okugona naye uyu mwana kuliwenzo pita munjira wanamuona nje wanaenda kumushita report ku polisi. After mushita report ku polisi, mulandu uyu nje pamuona enda na ku court manje. After waenda trial walita ma witnesses washita testify, wosia na siana na wa polisi wakaenda wanamukata washita testify, wa court mailo wanakambati manje hapa tapeza verdict yatu yakwe bati uyu muntu tampeza na mulandu ogona na mwana mungono. So manje mulandu wametampeza nayo ife monga wa magistrate court ife stima pasa muntu maezi yopitirira pali 7 years kuenda kumwamba kukonkana na lamulo yatu ya Muzambia ma cases monga ya defilement muntu wakampeza na mulandu kuli court, maximum sentence yamewanga mupase olokuyambira kupenda kwa mulandu wanga mujuwire uyu muntu nkuyambira pa 15 years kuenda kumwamba. So magistrate court singa pase ayo maezi ayo. So that's why uyu Israel Zulu wanampeleka ku high court, up to high court manje wapingule maezi ya meaza nkaramo mujele. So manje it can be wangampase maezi yopitira pa 15 years or wangambye in short abameninga kambi hapa ni yakwe bati wa court kwa high court kuja popasa sentence munyamata wa 35 years Israel Zulu bazamuyambira pa 15 years kwenda kumwamba. Makese mulandu wamewanga mpase, sentence yamewanga mpase. Ingankale yose yanapebi, ingankale 50 years, tunaona kwa bantu wakoti wapeleka mujele for 50 years chuka wagona na mwana muono. And malamulo manja hapa yankala strict Mozambique. And taona wa president washita emphasize that my crime dia so bantu wafnika waleke, because you know you end up spending more time in jail and destroy your future. So bantu wafnika basiye, that's why wamapasa mayezi ya kuri ya so yawambira pama 15 years kwenda kumwamba pakuti bantu wamine wazao mbela kwa okay uyu mzanga uchuka na chita cha so anampasa mayezi ya 15 years ine sinifu niko chita cha so, but taonati makoti waonati ma cases monga ya defilement yaenda ya kwela despite la mulu kunkala yolimba pali ma cases ya so. That's why wambili wakaenda ku court kucha mostly wakawapasa mayezi ni 25 years na kwenda kumwamba. So government yatu ya Zambia na ma NGOs yena ngwaya yamashita emphasize maningi pakuti bantu baleke kwenda mankani ya so, baleke kushita baso kuli bana bangono, because bana bangono baja tibaonongera future, mukamuonongera future mwana azavutika. That's why mu society mwatu tinga na bana bali depressed, wena ngwambo chita na abuse ma drugs bamba kumwa muwa instead wende ku school smash to understand it. Yeah.
Okay, that was Madam Miriam Kaimba. How I wish I was Bemba though. I'm from the eastern side of the country, so if I was to explain the same thing, maybe it would just be a deeper way of saying it. But as it is, tumwechi chofunikira chakuti mabungwe osiana nditu omwanganira nkhani zoteresi apitirize nditu kanganira nditu onsewo omuntu ona pano kuwairesiya kanema kuno Camnet TV tikuti munga udariseni koma naimwe mafamilies yanu amene mulili you have a role mwina mpamvu mwindi ufulu okuti mulanganire pamene bana walili so that mwashite protect, because wamakupatizunga makambati charity begins at home. So vintu vonse vimambira kunyumba, so tikaika vana watu na mafuniro abwini zintu zonse zankala bwanji zankala bwini. But without further ado, this is where we call it a wrap, and hopefully also is that you are keeping safe and ensuring that you remain productive under the behest of the 8-hour load shedding. Although reports do suggest that in some areas it is over 8 hours that they don't have power. Are you one of those that is affected? But anyway, we call it a day. That's been Nelson Zulu and Miriam Kaimba, where we were looking at politics, policy, and governance right here on the Thursday edition of the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. From myself and Miriam Kaimba, it's bye for now. Have a great day and be positive.